In this video, I'm going to share with you 10 ways that you can deal with difficult colleagues in other teams when you are a first-time leader. Let's get started. It is not always the case that the formally appointed leader is leading the team well. Sometimes there are gaps in the leadership which allows an informal leader to appear. This informal leader might simply be the person who is the oldest, the most experienced, or in some cases, just the loudest in the team. One thing is certain is that this informal leader has the ears of everyone, and they usually command the respect of the team. So if you are having some challenges in dealing with a colleague in another team, and after speaking with the formally appointed leader, there's no improvement to the situation, you may want to find out who is the informal leader within that team. When you can convince that informal leader to work with you and how doing so is mutually beneficial for both sides, then you may find that your difficulties will magically go away. Sometimes when you're facing difficulties with a colleague, it might be because they are not getting something from you in return, or that their inputs haven't been properly addressed in order for them to provide you with what you need. In other times, that colleague might just simply be a person to be avoided. Relationships are a must because you need the buy-in of the other party in order to get what you want in return. And without those good relationships, eventually you run into trouble. More often than not, you got to start off by getting to know the other person. So as a leader, you have to step forward and do what you can to make the relationship a mutually beneficial one. Sometimes you have to get to know the colleague and find out why is it that they're being difficult. At times, it could be a case where that colleague was just trying to assert themselves, but unfortunately they came across as negative or being difficult. As a leader, you have to take the high road, foster that environment of cooperation, and create better relationships wherever you go. If you like the content that you see so far, make sure you hit a like, subscribe, and leave a comment in this video. It helps me to grow the channel. Thanks. Whether that difficult colleague is another team member in a different team or a team leader, one of your peers, you need to have an open and honest conversation about the difficult behaviors that they're putting up and the effects that it's having on the people around them, as well as what can be done to find resolution. Naturally, you are going to want to be tactful in your approach because even if you are giving constructive feedback, the other person might not be in a position or want to listen to it. So you need to focus on specific examples of behavior that is not constructive or is seen as difficult and the impact it has on the work that needs to be done. You definitely want to approach things from a perspective of asking those insightful questions and then listening. Asking those insightful questions gets them talking, gets them sharing about what's going on in their life, and then you just listen. Sometimes you will realize that they didn't know that they were coming across as difficult. Other times, you might realize that the way you're approaching things is actually making things difficult for them. Adding on to what I said about asking insightful questions and listening to what others have to say, when you are doing so, make sure you're exercising your judgment, especially empathy and compassion. You must remember that your colleague has their own work priorities and challenges, and the request that you have put across to them may not exactly be high on their list of priorities. And so you need to find out what can you do in order to help them help you in return. And maybe it means that you got to give them something in return for what you are asking for them, or you need to do what you can so that it's easier for them to help you. It's always easier to help those that we know. So a question that you need to ask yourself is, do you know that colleague and vice versa? Often it really helps if both sides know each other. And what is the common outcome that both parties are trying to achieve? When your colleague knows what you are trying to do and why you're trying to do it, then they could be in a position to be able to help you or point you to someone else who can. In most cases, when you know the other person and the other person knows you, it's much easier to get their buy-in for what you're after. In every team, there are unspoken rules about the ways of working. Now, these rules are not written, but they're experienced by everyone in the team. For example, I once worked in a workplace where come Friday, 5 p.m., one of the team leaders would take out some alcoholic and non-alcoholic drinks. And everyone was encouraged to finish up their work, congregate, and have a chat about how the week went for them. Naturally, once it came towards 5 p.m. on any Friday, not much work was done after that time. Maybe there's a work practice in their team that's preventing them from getting what you need within a certain quality or within a certain time frame. Then it's up to you to go find out what's going on over there and to see what you can do about it.